Hey guys, Rominating Reaper here. So as you can see, I'm outside the cinema, and all I can say on this one is, this is the way. Yep, Mandalorian and Grogu. Been really looking forward to this, first new Star Wars movie in nearly 7 years. Can't believe it's been that long. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Obviously I enjoy the show. Hoping the return to the big screen for Star Wars will be good, and hoping it'll be a good big screen addition to the Mandalorian show. Fingers crossed, but the only way to find out if it is any good is to head in, get some snacks, and get seated for the Mandalorian and Grogu. So yeah, I've got my popcorn here and I found it in the collectible Mandalorian cup with topper, ready for Star Wars' return to the big screen.
Our stories are larger ones. That's something grown up.
So, The Mandalorian and Grogu. I am back from seeing it. This is of course directed by Jon Favreau, adapted from the Disney Plus show he co-created with Dave Filoni, and the pair of them have co-written the film with Noah Clure. Now, notably, this actually marks the first theatrically released Star Wars film since Rise of Skywalker, all the way back in 2019. Everything since has of course been Disney Plus shows of varying degrees of success, although at their best, Andor, we had some genuinely excellent television. But in saying that, it is nice to see Star Wars back where it belongs, on the big screen. But does the film deliver in bringing the galaxy far, far away back to cinemas? Let's find out. So in the film, Mandalorian bounty hunter Din Djarin travels across the galaxy with Grogu by his side, working for the New Republic as a hired gun, tracking down and taking out any remnants of the Galactic Empire. The pair's latest job, issued by rebel soldier Colonel Ward, to bring in a particularly high-value Imperial target, quickly becomes a lot more than the pair bargained for, as they soon cross paths with the Hutt family, as Mando finds himself tasked with rescuing Rotta the Hutt, son of Jabba. So, if you've seen any of the online discussions surrounding this film at all, you've likely seen it being referred to as being like a 2-hour episode of the show. A description that I think does ring true to an extent, but even at that, I'd say it is honestly a pretty decent one, because, let's be real, I would be lying if I said I didn't have a good time watching this film. Now, from a narrative perspective, it is perhaps a bit on the inconsequential side. Don't get me wrong, it is an entertaining one to watch. It's, easy to follow, and for the most part, very well paced. And I think does do a pretty good job of translating Mando and Grogu's adventures from the small screen to the big screen, with the almost episodic structure, I think, working in its favour, and very much working for the sort of gun-for-hire nature of Mando's occupation. But in terms of genuine, meaningful character development for the central pair, it is perhaps a bit light, because there's no particular, it doesn't particularly move their characters forward in any meaningful direction that might properly shake things up. It does nod in that direction and has admirable attempts at it, but unfortunately it never fully commits. But I think what makes it just sort of easy to watch is, yes, again, that central pairing. Obviously, Pedro Pascal is great as the stoic bounty hunter, and And he plays very well off the wacky, silly Grogu antics, which do deliver some quite amusing moments. And of course, yes, the two are partnered with a figure of authority in the form of Colonel Ward, played by Sigourney Weaver, who, for the screen time she has, does do a decent job of being that, figure in command. But I think where the film really shines is in the technical side, as it should for a Star Wars film. Obviously, Jon Favreau is a quite reliable blockbuster journeyman director, and so does bring it all quite reliably to life with no fuss. There's some decent cinematography here. There are some actually very good looking shots, and does do a good job of bringing the galaxy to life with that real sense of scale to it, and has real tangibility, obviously, from its practical sets. A particular highlight is the sort of sleek, futuristic stylings of the streets of the Shikari moon the pair visits early on. And of course, with it being the return of Star Wars to the big screen, it also marks the return of the wipe transition. Yep, it is very well deployed. In fact, there's a couple in particular that are so smooth it almost feels orgasmic. Hey, Disney, if you are watching this, please put that quote on the back of the Blu-ray. Thank you. There's also a lot of really fun creature designs as well. Obviously, some really creative ones. A lot of which are obviously brought to life through practical puppets. Notably Grogu, who is so expressive and characterful. It is an absolute marvel of practical puppetry, and what makes it easy to connect to him is the fact that yes, he is real and tangible. Obviously, there's a lot of others that are brought to life through CGI, particularly the cook, Hugo, who's voiced by the absolute cinema man, Martin Scorsese. Even looks a little bit like him as well. There's also a creature Grogu encounters who's voiced by Stephen McKinley Henderson, and also Zeb. A particular highlight, though, is Rotta, who's, this big, muscly boy who actually has quite an interesting character arc of, very much trying to break free from his father Jabba's shadow to be his own man. And Jeremy Allen White actually does do a great job voicing this character. What should be a bit of comedy stunt casting actually works really well. Now, obviously it's not all perfect. There are a couple points where the CGI does stick out, particularly some shots with Zeb. But for the most part, it is all very, very well done. And of course, all brought to life with a wonderful soundscape courtesy of Ludwig Göransson's score, and my god, it slaps hard. As Göransson's scores all so reliably do. But here he infuses the sort of western sounds of the show's score with some cool electronic synth ones. Some particular highlights are, yes, the sort of big screen reworkings of the show's theme song, and also Embo's theme and Rotta's theme. So fucking cool, man. I can only hope that Göransson got a pay rise, man, because he is cooking hard. Now, I mentioned that it is well paced for the most part, and that definitely does ring true for the first two acts. It's it keeps up that bit of momentum and energy, especially in the action, which is great. Particular highlights are the opening scene, in which Mando storms an Imperial base. There's also a fun, speeder chase with stormtroopers, and a couple of quite well done dogfights, and even the sort of gladiator arena stuff with Rotta, very much keeps that momentum and energy going. But towards the end of the film, about the end of the second act, beginning of the third act, it does lose a little bit of steam. And ironically, it's about the point Embo shows up that this happens, where the narrative kind of runs out of steam, but it does pick up for a very satisfying and crowd-pleasing climax with all the sort of action spectacle that you could want. And honestly, I left this having had a good time, and honestly leaves me pretty hopeful for Star Wars' future on the big screen. I'm really looking forward to Starfighter next year. I mean, it's got Ryan Gosling, it's bound to be good, right? Overall, The Mandalorian and Grogu is an entertaining, if slightly inconsequential, return to the big screen for the Star Wars franchise, with a simple, easy to follow narrative, entertaining action sequences, creative creature designs, and a kick ass Ludwig Göransson score, all carried along nicely by the titular pair. This is the way. Out of 10, The Mandalorian and Grogu gets a 7. So, let me know down in the comments, have you seen The Mandalorian and Grogu? What did you think of it? Are you glad to see Star Wars back on the big screen where it belongs? Are you hopeful for Star Wars' cinematic future? And are you looking forward to Starfighter next year? Let me know all that down in the comments. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you are new. And don't forget to turn on post notifications so you don't miss an upload.